road bike be faster than a time trial bike on a sporting time trial course? Here we are at my local sporting time trial course, the Bletchley circuit. What we want to compare today is my time set on a time trial bike versus my time today on a road bike. We'll look at the cumulative effect. I imagine that the road bike is going to be faster on the descent, and I imagine it's going to be faster on the climb. My expectation is that the time trial bike will be faster overall, but I would be ecstatic to be proven wrong. If I'm going to beat my time on a dedicated time trial bike in that dedicated time trial position, I need a special bike, which is what I have here today. I'm going to ride this challenge on the Specialized Tarmac SL7. This is a pretty exceptional bike. I've got a size 52 and it weighs in at 6.6 kg, so it is pretty lightweight. So there are an awful lot of features in this new SL7 that certainly lend themselves to performing quite well on a sporting time trial course. For starters, you do have a much more aerodynamic front end at the head tube, the forks, and via these Aerofly 2 handlebars. You've also got the more aerodynamic shape that you had on the seat stays of the Venge, which reportedly speeds the bike up by around 45 seconds over a 40-kilometre course.
The TT is just one half of the challenge though. I also want to test myself and the bike up Cheddar Gorge, one of my bucket list climbs, and beat both my teammate and be the best within the Cycling Weekly office leaderboard.
So this is very much a personal challenge. I have always wondered if I could beat my time on a road bike on this course, and whether or not, admittedly, I could beat my teammate Matilda. So let's have a go. I've got the perfect bike for that attempt, and away we go. Last climb. Doesn't matter how much you think you've left in the tank, it's never ever enough. Done. Effort complete. I've had a chance to cool down a little bit, which is very much appreciated. So the headline news is rather surprisingly, I was expecting to be slower overall on the road bike, but faster in some sections. Actually, I was 47 seconds faster over the whole course, which is a massive surprise. Definitely really welcome. I mean, as I've already stated, this is not a science experiment. There are a lot of variables, but it is a challenge of my own, and I'm absolutely chuffed with that time. So I've had a little look on Strava, the useful comparison tool, and I've got a bit of data here. So as I said, overall 47 seconds faster with a time of 29:33, which was also enough to take the QOM off my teammate Matilda, so she'll get a nice email. Hi Matilda. So that'll be nice. So the first kind of interesting point was that I was actually 7 seconds quicker on the out to Bletchley, which is the initial climb before you turn onto Cooper's Hill. It is fairly steep, but then it does flatten out, so I had very much expected that a time trial bike would be quicker there. I suppose the initial section is really quite steep. I'm generally not riding that on the bars, so I suppose that will be why. And yeah, that was a 7 second saving straight away. I always ride it that you're going really, really hard by the time you get to that left-hand bend. So I'm usually at about 191 beats a minute before I go into that left-hand bend. So on Cooper's Hill, as expected, I was faster. It was only 6 seconds, which kind of surprised me. I expected that to be a little bit more, but I certainly felt so much more in control on this bike. I mean, it's a twisty descent, so I'm always pretty careful there, and I definitely felt this bike gave me a huge amount of control on some of those bends, and I felt much better than I ever have on a time trial bike descending down there on the tarmac. I did lose some time on what's called Days Hill. It's a kind of 4.5-minute section. It's actually an incline of just 1%. It's a flat pretty much. So time trial bike is going to make an awful lot of sense there. I kind of tried to counter that as much as possible by just staying as low as I could on the bike, trying to get that kind of hunch nailed in. But you know, it's kind of understandable that you are going to lose a little bit of time there. Finally, there is the Bletchley finish climb. So my max heart rate on there was 193 beats a minute. So we cannot say that I wasn't trying. However, I was actually 2 seconds slower at this time. I don't really put that down to the bike. Frankly, the road surface has got worse. And usually there is a big crowd of teammates all cheering you, and you've got a guy standing there with a stopwatch. So, you know, doing this in kind of COVID times, on my own, no one standing there, and also, to be honest, as soon as I'd come through that the final kind of low bridge before that climb, I already knew that I was kind of already set a PB. So I suppose also there's a certain amount of I'd done enough at that point. So overall, riding this bike, I was faster than I have ever been on a time trial bike on this sporting course. That doesn't mean to say that every rider out there is going to go faster on a road bike than a TT bike. I wouldn't be so naive as to say that. But certainly for me, this bike performed incredibly well, and it was a jack of all trades that it is set out to be. So next I really want to test this bike on a proper long and sustained climb. I've chosen Cheddar Gorge because it has a really good balance of gradient. To make it even more interesting, my teammate Matilda has also been to Cheddar Gorge, so the competition continues. And I will attempt to do both the Bletchley course and the Cheddar Gorge climb in a cumulative time of under 44 minutes. That is going to push me. I'm certainly not particularly confident that I can definitely do that, but that's how you get faster, by pushing yourself, right? So that is what we're going to do, and we'll give it a go tomorrow. So here we are at Cheddar Gorge for the second part of this challenge. I'm told the very first couple of kilometres of this climb are much, much steeper, and then the last 3 kilometres are much shallower. Now that makes it a really perfect test for this bike, because in the first 2 kilometres you really want that kind of lightweight, responsive handling, and just the lightweight in itself that you've always had from the tarmac, and I really hope that will shine through. And then on the final 3 kilometres, where it really, really peters out, you really want the aero characteristics of the veg. Now, as I said, I want to have a cumulative time over the Bletchley TT and this of 44 minutes. Now, I'm not going to lie, I think I've got pretty favourable conditions. I've ridden down the climb and I thought there was a very, very slight headwind, which should mean I have a very, very slight tailwind on the way up. However, what I hadn't factored in is that it's Cheddar Gorge, a beauty spot, and it's also the kids' summer holidays, so it's pretty busy. There's an awful lot of traffic on there. I really hope we don't have to stop. I expect I probably will have to. So you really have to leave some gas for the second half. First half is obviously really steep. I absolutely smashed it up there, and then I had like nothing for the shallower bit. Yeah, it's a tough climb. The second half is actually really quite easy. I should have, and it's more the thing I'm suited to. I'm more of a tester, so steep stuff doesn't suit me. So I should have held back there and saved gas for the second half. But yeah, if anyone out there is going to climb Cheddar Gorge at some point, that's what you should do. Don't do what I did. So yeah, we'll see what the time was like. So we have come down off the climb now. We're now chilling out in a pub garden. I've had a nice drink and some lunch, and I've also taken some time to have a look at the data from the climb. So here it is. My time on the climb was 11 minutes and 44 seconds. The QOM is 10 minutes and 27 seconds. My teammate Matilda did it in 13 minutes and 12 seconds. And also, just to kind of add a little extra context, the fastest person in the Cycling Weekly office before today was Alex Ballinger with a time of 12:23. So frankly, I'm quite pleased. So normalized power was 245 watts, which interestingly is actually only 5 watts more than Bletchley, which is a 30-minute effort. So it's kind of hard to explain why that is. I imagine a lot of it is because I really went way too hard at the bottom, and then it quite rapidly went downhill when I got through the steep sections, so I would put an awful lot of it down to that. Average heart rate was 182 beats a minute, which is actually lower again than Bletchley, which was 184, but I suppose, you know, there's a lot longer for heart rate to kind of accumulate over that effort. So did I beat the cumulative time that we had planned? That was 44 minutes. So with 29:33 on Bletchley and 11:44 on Cheddar Gorge, that comes in at 41:17. So I'm going to say I probably set the bar a bit low, frankly. I think, yeah, we could have made it 42 minutes, and I still would have achieved that. So I was absolutely thrilled with that. Happy with the time, and I would put a lot of it. I mean, the bike performed brilliantly in both instances. So obviously to beat a time trial bike time, you can't really complain about that. And on the climb, certainly towards the steeper sections, just the lightweight responsiveness of this frame really did shine through. So that age-old question, do you really need the N+1? I would say, judging from the content of this video, no, you probably don't need a lightweight and an aero bike as well. And also you could attach TT bars to the front end of this bike. So it could well be you really can have one bike that does all of the jobs that you need if you choose your bike exceptionally well. So there you go. Thank you for allowing me to indulge in my own personal challenge. I have always wanted to try out my time trial course on a road bike and see if it was faster. Turns out it was. And I've always wanted to climb Cheddar Gorge. I've had an excellent time. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope you have as well. Please, if you've got any questions, do pop them in the comments. We always like to hear from you. If you liked this video, please do hit like. It means an awful lot. And also, if you enjoy this content, do subscribe, because you'll see more from us in the future. Thanks very much. Bye.